Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another session of AFA Canada Retail Next webinar series. Thank you for taking the time to tune into this timely topic of where have all the employees gone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Michelle Kaufman. I'm Director of Operations and Events for AFA Canada. I'm not sure if you can relate to this, but I know with myself lately, I find myself in the situation where I'm waiting for someone to service me, either in a restaurant or in a store. I've become very conscious of being more patient and grateful to the staff member who has shown up to service me, because I know that businesses are very likely short-staffed, or that particular business that I'm in is very likely short-staffed, and that staff is doing the best they can with what they've got. At AFA Canada, we are so fortunate to have CFIB as an association partner and to be able to extend all of the valuable services this organization offers to members of AFA Canada. If you want to learn more about AFA Canada membership, you can always visit our website at www.afacanada.com. Today's session will be presented by Nathan Mean, CFIB's Director of Business Resources Escalation. Nathan completed high school in Texas and received a BA and LLB from Dalhousie University. He's lived in different parts of Canada and for briefer periods in Houston, Guatemala City, and Tokyo. From 2015 to 2017, Nathan served as the historian for the Canadian Society of Mayflower Descendants, and Nathan joined CFIB in 2000. So I'm going to turn off my camera now, and I'm going to hand the controls over to Nathan, and then I'll pop back in when he's done. Nathan, it's all yours.
Thank you, Michelle. It's wonderful to be with you today. So welcome all of you to our presentation on finding and keeping good employees. It's lovely having you to join us, as I mentioned. And today we will go over some introductory observations, then dive into hiring, and we'll go into the retention journey in a bit. We will go over how to post a job and sell it, interviewing best practices, making a great job offer, as well as onboarding and retention best practices. We will finish by briefly mentioning some government compliance and hiring programs. Afterwards, and time allowing, we will go over some questions that have been posed to us. So let's get started. Over the last 3 years, we have all experienced watching our favorite small business struggle to find qualified employees due to all the pressures experienced. Because of those pressures, tempers have sometimes frayed, and frontline employees have often taken the brunt of their customers' frustrations. Many employees have not welcomed the day when, once more, they might be subject to abuse, not from their employer, but from those they want to help. When looking for employees, the employer, the employee's immediate manager, and the team into which any new employee must integrate can make all the difference in someone showing up day after day. Much disheartening comment can be taken from customers if the employee feels that her boss, her team, has her back. That even if the customer doesn't seem to have her welfare in mind, she doesn't question her place as a needed member of a caring team, one that has high expectations, but treats excellence with the respect it deserves. When looking for employees, the employer, the employee's immediate manager, and the team under which the new employee must integrate must make all the difference in the world, as already mentioned. And part of the problem is that how do you find such people who will turn up day after day and put in good, solid work? CFIB research shows that in 2022, the shortage of labor is one of the top hindrances impeding business growth. There are more jobs needing good employees than there are such employees to go around. There are measures that you can take to increase your odds of being one of those businesses that has more than its fair share of not only applicants, but of those accepting an offer of work and see those employees stick around. But first, a word of caution. While we are here to explore how to better your chances of onboarding employees and see them make you proud, we cannot emphasize enough that whomever you hire must be someone that contributes to your bottom line. There are many fashionable currents presently urging employers to hire for reasons other than increasing their bottom line, but these should be avoided. Remember, your only reason for hiring someone is to increase your bottom line, period. If you are hiring any particular person on the basis of some other reason, stop. You may end up with someone who not only doesn't end up being profitable to your business, but sticks around and causes you innumerable problems, detracting from your success. Remember, it is better to hire no one than to hire someone that you feel pressured to hire, but for the wrong reason. And hiring anyone for a reason other than the expectation that he will add to your bottom line is a wrong reason. There, with that out of the way, let's go to the hiring roadmap. Here it is. As you can see, the process is made up of 5 distinct sets of directions to get where you want to go. Unless you have the perfect employee to be just happen to walk into your door or in through your door and exclaim he wants to work for you, you will usually need to consider these 5 steps. Knowing how to post your job opening and sell it, understanding the basics of interviewing, making the job offer, onboarding the successful applicant, and what works and what doesn't to retain that employee. So step 1, you need a written job description. It is very important that you write down what it is you will be hiring a person to do. Not only will clarity prevail in what it is you are offering, but down the road, should the person be hired, a written job description can go a long way to alleviating any potential misunderstanding regarding expectations. There is little worse than 6 months into the job to see disappointment begin to appear, both on the part of management and on the part of the employee. One starts to hear words cropping up, but I thought that, or I thought you understood that, and so on. With clarity of expectations on both sides, productivity can be enhanced and time not wasted over clarifying misunderstandings that need not have occurred. Step 2, post a catchy job ad. Once you know exactly what you need doing, and it has been written down to promote to the public what you are looking for, you need as much as possible to stand out from the competition. Think of your ad as a sales promotion. What are the benefits of working for you? What can you offer outside your pay package that might attract someone to follow up, take another look at your business? Many businesses may become despondent since they are not able to compete with larger businesses that can pay more. They think because they can't pay as much, they are doomed in their search for good employees. While pay is certainly important, many employees are looking for community, a place to hang their hats, so to speak, somewhere that will see them face the day with confidence rather than exhaustedly arriving at work at the very last second. There are places we all, I am sure, have worked ourselves or known of others who have, where the pay experience was very good, but at the end of the day, you couldn't wait to get out of the place. Many people will work for less if given reasons to do so. And those reasons are often in your power to give. Step 3, find your candidate. Don't limit where you look. You never know where the good employee may be lurking. Be inclusive in your ideas of who the best candidate might be and where, if you go fishing, you just might get a nibble, or even better yet, land the best employee possible. To use another analogy, many employers will not go outside the lane in which they have driven looking for employees in the past. However, people come in all sizes, shapes, desires, backgrounds, and have a wide array of hopes and dreams. The effort they are willing to deploy in getting ahead needs to be harnessed, tapped by the employer. If the employer gives them cause to believe that their needs will be met, they will help their boss achieve his own aspirations. They will not only do their job, but do it with alacrity, even joy. So don't just post where you have always posted unless that has achieved rewarding results in the past. And one word on education. Be careful that you don't exclude someone who doesn't have a college degree or training certificate or certification credentials for this, that, and the other. Unless you can stipulate that the position you're hiring for absolutely requires such a diploma or certification, you may be cutting off your nose to spite your face in making that requirement part of your proposal. If you need a qualified CPA to head up your finance department, you will require the requisite certification and training. You would certainly want to post your ad within trade journals that cater to CPAs, for example. However, there is a modern tendency to require a degree in much of today's hiring where none is needed. Don't fall for that trap. Good help and expertise does not always accompany a university degree. In the last slide, we mentioned the necessity of having a written job description. And if you wish to achieve maximum results, this is very much urged. I have included the first page of a template available to you from CFIB should you wish to discover how to put together such a document. And this is one of the tools that is available to you as a member. Again, I want to emphasize that even for positions not requiring a degree and where paying may not be great, good employees can still be found. But it often depends on the person in charge to create a work atmosphere to which a prospect would wish to attach himself. For those jobs that require unique skill sets, I thought I would show you an ad that CFIB put out to attract a research assistant. We will make the slide deck available to you afterwards, so I won't go through it right now. Suffice it to say, we went fishing with the best bait possible, and we found the research assistant we were looking for. Next in our roadmap to finding a successful hire is understanding the basics of interviewing. Be prepared when you go into an interview. Do not wing it. This is where you get your first sense of whether the person is right for the job, description right for your business culture. Follow up quickly afterwards. Never fall into ghosting practices, where you have the interview, tell someone you will get back to him, then disappear from his radar screen. Call him back as promised. Either you are ready to make an offer, have a second interview, or tell him he didn't get the job. But never leave him hanging, wondering what happened. Your reputation could be at stake. Another word of caution. When preparing your questions for the interview, be careful not to include questions that are prohibited under human rights legislation, such as shown here. While discrimination is actually allowed in hiring, if you can prove there is a bona fide occupational qualification requirement, obviously this is lawyer speak, a BFOQ, as its acronym is stated to be, such as discriminating against those who have vision impairment, say when hiring, for example, an airline pilot, it is better to stay away from any question that might be interpreted as infringing on one of the protected grounds. If the job description you are selling may require a BFOQ, you could otherwise would be considered discriminatory. Well before the interview, speak with an employment lawyer. Otherwise, your troubles of shortage of qualified labor could end up being the least of your problems. To help prepare for the interview and know which questions may be helpful to ask, CFIB has prepared another template for your use. Again, should you think this would be helpful to you, Call a CFIB business advisor and she will be very happy to make it available to you. Next in our journey is making the job offer. Once you have decided after the interview to proceed to the next step of making an offer, preparation is again required. While you may find someone with whom you are so impressed during the interview that you are willing to make an offer on the spot, this is not good practice. You may get lucky, but good business practices depends on luck as little as possible. We would first recommend that you complete the background checks on your to-do list. Some businesses don't actually follow up with the people the applicant gives as references. Make sure you are not one of them. Always call those whom the applicant states will vouch for him. While few will say bad things about an applicant, much can be learned. For example, a referent may say nothing bad due to his possibility of liability exposure. However, someone who really believes the person you are about to hire is really terrific may find it harder to muffle his exuberance. If a former boss really likes the person you are calling about, there is little liability exposure in genuine praise that is based on past experience that can be proven. Again, preparation is important. Already know the compensation package that you will offer or how much you are willing to negotiate. Don't do this on the fly. Make sure the pay you are about to offer has a firm basis both within your company and outside it. However, when constrained from offering higher pay than perhaps what you would like, given the present economic conditions, those other factors that make your business a great place to work should be emphasized. And as with the job description, CFIB always recommends having the employment contract written down. For the same reasons as a job description should be written down, having an employment contract written down can keep misunderstanding at bay as to what was agreed. A written employment contract versus an oral contract favors both the employee and the employer. Again, CFIB has put together this letter of a template offer that can double as a written employment contract. It is simple to use, but meets most employer and employee needs. Should you like to have this template, let us know and we'll send it along. And by the way, when I'm showing you templates, I'm just showing you the first page. There is the worksheets that follow afterwards that I'm not showing here. Now that we've hired, or now that you have hired your new employee, your next step is to see him ensconced in his new role as quickly as possible. As with any new relationship, first impressions matter a lot. Don't go through all the preparation and follow-up and posting an ad, interviewing, making the offer, and having it accepted, only to drop the ball on the hire's first day of work. Again, be prepared. Make sure he is acquainted with your team and acquainted with a smile. The first week is the beginning of your retention project. The first week should be geared towards orientation, to have the new employee settle into his new work atmosphere that promotes a sense of mission and community. Do the paperwork properly to have him set up for payroll. Go over your health and safety standards, and if at all possible, appoint a buddy to be his go-to person whenever he has a quick question needing to be answered. At the end of the first week, have a post-hiring interview. Any positives need to be quickly reinforced, any misunderstandings nipped in the bud. Always keep communication open. Therein lies the bedrock of a good employer-employee relationship. The last part of the process is the ongoing maintenance of relationship building. It is often said an employee doesn't so much leave a company as he leaves his boss. As long as a company keeps its end of the bargain, the one that was promised in the interview, in the job description, and the employment contract, all of the main factors that can lead to disappointment or worse have already been looked after. However, a non-communicative boss, one who's not always professional, one that does not ensure a safe work environment, can be the linchpin to organizational dysfunction. All good employees want to grow, whether they're 16 or 66. They want to learn and be valued. CFIB has made available to all its members the ability to offer employees a chance at growth through our ViewBiz offerings, for example, free of charge, that comes with your membership. Other courseware from Google, for example, can also offer a step up. But whatever you choose to offer to your employees, do it with a view to helping them not only grow in the job, but grow as people. If you are to retain them, they are going to be spending potentially a lot of time working for you and at your place of business, whether at the office, from home, or a mixture of the two. Making them feel good about their life's trajectory in general will increase your odds of having a willing, dedicated, even delightful employee. Even if the day comes where growth is no longer possible in your business, since not everyone can be a VP, feel good about contributing to their success. Remember, even if they eventually resign or go on to other employment down the road, it will always serve your business well to have them speak fondly of you wherever they go. A few things I want to add as we finish up today. The first, while applying to your business generally and not only as a part of the hiring and retention process, is government compliance. Be sure to be as compliant as possible. This will make for a better work atmosphere and not leave worry that a government regulator or even employee can catch you off guard. All of the issues shown have caused problems in the past for many businesses, but there are steps you can take to become compliant if you've not already done so. For Ontario, I've shown you here, CFIB has a compliance checklist you can use. Again, we're only showing the first page here. Better to have thought out these issues beforehand than play catch up after a complaint has been made. Another parting word is on government support. Government can often be a thorn in the side of small to medium-sized businesses, as I'm sure you're all aware. However, it can sometimes make offerings that, if taken advantage of, can make your life easier. Here is a list of offerings where, for the right business at the right time, if tapped into, can help a business progress. Finally, I would be amiss were I not to mention the Temporary Foreign Workers Program in a webinar on hiring in a shortage of labor world. For some employers, this has been a lifesaver. It can also be a hassle due to its complexity and rules. However, for the right business, should you it should actually be considered when finding Canadians close to home to fill the positions needed are harder and harder to find. To wrap up today, here are some generalized tips we hope you will take away from this webinar. First, think like the person you are wanting to hire. It's the golden rule writ large. Be quick, be transparent, and always follow up as promised. Don't cut off any road to hiring success due to preconceived biases. Look everywhere. Once hired, help employers grow till they either resign or help employees grow till they either resign or retire. They will appreciate you for it and speak highly of your brand. Finally, use CFIB tools such as templates that I've shown you today, and we've got many, many more. Use our savings program to add to your bottom line. After all, doing anything to add to your bottom line is what business is all about. A business with a growing bottom line allows for owner security, contentment amongst employees, and indeed, more prosperity for Canada. Getting the hiring thing right is a great way to make all of these things come true. That is the end of my presentation, and Michelle has given me a few questions that have come in that you would ask that I answer, and I'll attempt to go over a few of those questions one of the first questions that was asked, and I think some of these questions will have been already answered in the talk I've just given, but one of the questions was, have hiring standards changed post-pandemic? And what we have covered today is current to the best of my knowledge. That said, always be aware that new legislation or regulation can be introduced rather suddenly, making an updating of company policies necessary. A second question, have employment benefits changed? If so, how? Well, this being a webinar on hiring and retention, employment benefits would require a dedicated webinar on its own. But suffice it to say that most benefits that have changed are on account of hiring and retention concerns. As noted, any company offering any benefit not offered by another would become more attractive in its search for employees, obviously. However, as we have also noted, benefits offered do not always need to be pay related in order to sell a position to an employee. So I hope that helps answer that question. Another question, what makes a good employee today? I like this question. The answer is, as we basically mentioned at the end of the talk we just gave, a good employee is anyone whose actions contribute positively to a business's bottom line. That is a good employee, period. Full stop. Don't worry about what's going on inside a person's head. It's his actions that count, and only his actions. If his actions detract from the bottom line, meaning any action that would disrupt a cohesive running of the business in a profitable fashion, then that is cause for concern. If those actions are not fixable, that would not be a good employee. Here's another question. What are the best tools to find new employees? I think we went over this earlier. I think if you look back to slide 8, for example, and read over some of the places that we've mentioned, you should go. Finding employees is, as you can well imagine, is as much an art as a science. No algorithm will, I suspect, ever be applicable to introducing and maintaining an energizing work atmosphere. It's all about people, how the people interact with the product or service for which the business stands, and how management interacts really with both to produce an attractive workplace. Hopefully what we have covered today has given you some tools to consider in search for the employees you need. And again, I want to emphasize, I've given you a few templates here as examples. I've mentioned ViewBiz as one of the products that we offer that can help in your training. But there are many, many more. This is just a sampling, and we've only given a few due to time constraints. Another question is, what are employees, looking for now? Well, people without a job and people who need a job, who cannot sit home and not work without dire consequences, they tend to be looking for a job. People who are without a job and who don't need one, for example, they have other funding sources to at least meet their minimal expectations of life, are not, unless they are offered something quite wonderful from an employer. However, it is our experience that folk with fabulous skill sets, again, not necessarily degreed people, but without alternative sources of funding are they're not generally out of work very long. They usually acquired their skill sets through hard work and don't want to lose their edge by being unemployed too long. People looking for work with any saleable skill set will not be sitting home playing the proverbial video game in the basement, waiting for that phone call that will offer them $200,000 a year from an unknown business to which they never applied. So the bottom line on this question really is, while there are studies that conclude that younger people especially are looking for more quality time of life away from the office than was traditionally expected, and people will state that they are willing to make less money to have the quality of life given to them, we haven't necessarily seen this. borne out. Yes, everybody wants more holiday time and extra days off and shorter working hours, but nobody wants a loss of money by which to enjoy that time off. Again, it comes down to trade-offs for both prospective employees and employers. I think the trick is to find what works for you, to attract the kind of employee that would feel most comfortable with what you are selling in the job description. As mentioned, there are actually those who will work for less pay if there are enticements other than pay that meets their needs. I think we have two more questions here. This is very interesting. Somebody asked the question, is quiet quitting a real thing? Well, some would say so. This is a fairly new concern, as you know, at least as spoken about in the news media and by the pundits. However, a recent article in the Wall Street Journal concluded that while quiet quitting was becoming pronounced, so has quiet firing, where a worker who no longer wants to make a contribution to the bottom line is sidelined and eventually let go. With any employer-employee relationship, it is always a two-way street. Also, it seems to be more pronounced in other parts of the world, such as in China. However, the reason for quiet quitting there or engaging in a lifestyle that they term let it rot is not comparable to a country like Canada or the US that is still largely market-based, where government does not control almost every facet of one's life in the quest to get ahead. So it is still possible in Canada for a young person, I think, to start out in life, make more or less wise choices with regard to education and work experience, to end up in retirement, having lived a productive life and be in a financial position to leave them less than worried. Even young people, I think, in Canada intuit this. And they won't want to, they will not be, I think, able to achieve their dreams. They know this, while at the same time not either working or enhancing their skills through education. However, it is the usual for the news media to focus on this, so maybe it's been made into a bigger thing than it will turn out to be. And then finally, the last question, it says, have overall standards changed for employees, both in the eyes of upper management and employees? Well, whether overall standards have changed since March of 2020, I'm not sure. Certainly there have been concerns shown by both employer and employee that a sudden event can lead to the overturning of individuals and business lives through no fault of their own. Many small to medium-sized enterprises were put under extreme stress by the policy actions taken to combat what is still not fully understood, with the effect of causing difficulty for businesses. This, in turn, I think, has impacted their employees. These were not businesses where poor management, poor product offering, or improper compliance procedures were in place. These businesses were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, the wrong sector sometimes, and had, as it were, a policy gun put to their heads and told to drop. No doubt some of these businesses have gone under or soon will through no fault of their own. However, that such circumstances can come seemingly out of nowhere has been shown to have caused, for example, great mental stress than what was witnessed before March of 2020. And I will just finalize by saying that because of this mental stress, we have also put something into our website that is very much focused on wellness and taking into account what small businesses have been through over the last year in an attempt to help both the owners of the businesses as well as their employees. So that's the last of the questions. I hope you've enjoyed today. And Michelle, maybe I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Nathan. That was a very informative, jam-packed presentation. Thank you so much. And just to our members and our industry out there who are not yet members, CFIB has so many resources available to you. So if you are interested in wanting to learn more, you can reach out to me, Michelle, with 2 L's at afacanada.com, or you can search out CFIB. You can Google them and find out all that they have to offer. Thank you so much, Nathan. Really appreciate your time taken today to go through all of this wonderful deck with our industry. Thank you.
Thank you again.